Sherrell be jamming, girl. That's it. Okay, yes, we on now. Okay.
Good evening and welcome to the Speak Easy podcast. Tonight we're doing Author's Corner, and we have the collaborating authors along with the visionary author of For the Love of Caregiver Anthology. And they're going to come tonight and share with us what inspired them to do this anthology, what it's all about, how you can get a copy when it comes out and it's released, and talk about the love of caregiving. And so I want to introduce Sherrell Mims. Sherrell Mims is the visionary author of For the Love of Caregiving. So good evening, Sherrell. How are you?
Good evening. I am wonderful, Constance. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. And that's Sherrell D. You got to put that D in there.
That's
Sherrell
right.
D.
I forgot that. That's right. Got the D. You are absolutely right. Got to put the D, put the trademark on it. Sherrell D. Mims.
You know what? Okay. And just so let me just say this, because we had got kicked out, right? So everything has changed over. They still got me showing down in the thing down there. But I was going to put my name in so they can actually see, the spelling of my name and what have you. If you're able to do that, Sherrell D. Mims.
It's actually your name is on there.
It is. It's not even showing on my end. But anyway, we're going to keep it going.
Yeah, it's on my end.
Okay, yes. Beautiful.
Okay, so Sherrell, just tell us about the For the Love of Caregiving inaugural anthology book project. What inspired you to do this?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that question, Constance. Listen, for your audience, my name is Sherrell D. Mims, and how the For the Love of Caregiving inaugural anthology came about was this. We had already established back in June of 2018, the Global Caregivers Network. From there, we established the Global Caregiver Speakers. And on the speakers platform, which is the number one speaker platform for caregivers, Constance was one of our wonderful keynote speakers in April and July 2020. And from there, we decided, I'm sitting at the table, I'm saying we, me and the Holy Spirit, right? We came together and decided to do For the Love of a Caregiver. Why? Because caregiver voice matters. It matters. We have a story to share with the world. We have a story to share globally with people around the world. And guess what? There are 56 million, I may be off by some numbers, but there are millions of unpaid caregivers out there.
Wow.
And so not just that, they have a story to tell. They have a story to share. And so by this anthology come out, this is our inaugural, this is our first one. So we're looking for even more to come from this trendsetter, right? This is just the beginning of so many more to come. And so by us starting this one, this was in my heart to do. Like I say, it's for the love of caregiving. So you have to have a heart to do these things, right? Mm-hmm. It's not something I'm just flamming and just doing. No, this is something that has been ordained to do. And so with the co-authors that's coming in, they have some wonderful, phenomenal stories to share. I mean, it's relatable. You can understand what's being said, and you can reach out to the caregivers because you just don't know where this is going. So by this being the first one, I always say it's something about being the first one. The first book, your first hairstyle, your first hospital visit, right? It's something about being the first. Number one, you're excited about it. That's number one because it's going to be so wonderful. It's going to be a number one international bestseller. And we're even looking at it to go global into the global market. So that's where I'm at with everything. And for those in the listening audience, I constantly share with you, my name is Sherrell D. Mims. I am the visionary author for The Love of a Caregiver anthology book. This book, I have been a registered nurse. Just give you a little background about me. I've been a nurse for over 20 plus years and counting. It's been a wonderful experience. So it's only fitting, right, that we do something related to caregiving. So I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm gonna put a plug right there, Constance, and I'm gonna come back. I'll come back because I have so much to say. You know,
Yes, I know you do. And listen, caregiving is so important. And I think, well, I don't think, I know what you're doing is of importance. Why? I have been a caregiver twice, well, actually 3 times.
Okay.
And it's really sometimes a lonely space for some caregivers because they're in it by themselves. They
Sure.
don't have assistance. They aren't aware of resources, and they're just kind of in a place of being alone.
Mm-hmm.
And they need someone to talk with, just to vent, or someone just to come and sit and talk with them, or sit with the loved one that they're caring for so they can get out, take a walk and have some fresh air or what have you. So this is monumental, and it's important. It is important. You know, I joined this anthology project because, again, I'm a professional caregiver, being a registered nurse for 35 years, and then 2, being a personal caregiver for both of my parents. And I tell you, it's not easy. It is not easy. There were some days my car was driving itself because I was just behind the wheel. I was just that tired because I was still working. You know,
Yeah.
I had a toddler at home. I was in graduate school, and sleep was just forget about it. You know, you catch a snooze here and a snooze there. And so there was a lot of times I ended up in my yard, and I wondered, how did I get there? Because I don't remember the ride home.
Wow.
It was just that bad. So I joined this project. You know, I signed on with the Global Caregivers Network over a year ago because I believe in what you were doing.
Thank you.
I know that it is of value and of meaning to someone there in the listening audience, or someone out there in the world. The outreach that we are providing, it's important. It
Absolutely.
is very important. So thank you, Sherrell, for coming today and sharing this with the listening audience. So now I'm going to bring up Keisha.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good evening, Keisha. How are you?
I am fine. I'm well. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Tell the listening audience about Keisha.
Yeah, so as you said, my name is Keisha Jackson. I'm a retired Air Force veteran, a creative writer, and a family caregiver advocate. I became a caregiver while I was in the military, and I was caring for my mom. So that's how I got connected. Years ago, even before this project came about, I started out by caring for my mom.
Yes, yes. And so tell us about your chapter. What is the title of your chapter?
So I titled my chapter Healed, and it is about the last 3 years of my mother's life, who had stage 4 inoperable lung cancer. And it tells a story about how she was actually healed, although she passed. So a little interesting.
Yes. Okay. Wow. And you know, when you said that, you brought back a memory for me. I had a cousin that we were the same age. I think I was maybe a month older than she was. And at the age of 43, she passed away from pancreatic cancer. And, you know, losing a child, my aunt was so distraught. She was so distraught. And she said to the minister at the funeral, "You promised me that God was going to heal my child." And he told her, he has.
Yep.
Just because she's not here physically with us, he has healed her.
Wow.
Yes. And so when he said that, that just kind of stuck in my mind. I was like, wow. And when to hear you say that again, I'm like, okay, here we go. So yeah, that's right. That's right. That's a wonderful title. Wonderful chapter title. Now, part of my chapter, I forgot to say, is crucial decisions. I had to make some decisions that were not favored by some who had nothing to do with what I was doing, weren't rendering any assistance, but they had plenty of opinions.
Okay. Wait a minute. That is so funny. Oh, go ahead, Constance, because I'm just laughing because they definitely have opinions.
They had plenty of opinions and advice, but nobody was coming to sit and say, well, hey, are you tired? Do you need this? Can I come out there? Can I go visit your dad this weekend and you stay home?
Right,
No.
right.
But they had all these opinions. And so I had to make crucial decisions to meet my dad's needs, the needs of my child that was still at home, 9 years old, in my life, because I was still working.
Right.
Single parent. So I had to make some crucial decisions
Yeah.
to get
Beautiful.
done what needed to be done. So Keisha, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for joining us in this anthology project.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you so
looking forward
much.
to it. I'm really excited about being a part of the project.
Thank you so much. And someone to bring Matis up. Hello,
Hi.
Matis. Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, made it.
Okay. All right. We
I'm
had a little
good.
struggle, but we made it there.
Yeah, finally. Praise the
Yeah.
Lord on that.
That's right. That's right. All right. So tell the audience about Matis. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I retired in 2019. I was a hospital administrator in the Department of Pediatrics. And I
Okay.
retired at that time because I'm now a personal trainer and wellness coach.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Interesting. Interesting. And so why did you join this project?
Well, when prior to my retirement, I had been taking care of my mother who lived an hour away. So I was a caregiver, her primary caregiver, and made certain that she had help during the week, which I was also managing that group as well. So very much like yourself, I was taking care of two homes, and I was working a full-time job. And I was really burnt out completely after 6 years of that. I was very burnt out. Um, my book chapter is called My Wake Up Call because I almost had a heart attack
Wow.
about 2 years prior to me retiring, and much of it was because of the way I was living. And so my book is about caregivers taking care of themselves. And that's what I'm talking about in the chapter that I write is that we all have to have that wake up call. And that
That's
wake up
right.
call is important because we can't take care of our loved one if we're down and out and sick ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? I'm glad that you said that because self-care is so important.
Yeah.
It is so important because if we're not, as you said, if we're empty, we can't fill somebody else's vessel. If
That's
we're
right.
sick, we can't be here for the care, for the person we're caring for. And I have seen in several instances where the caregiver passed away and left that ill person behind. Why? Because they did not practice self-care and they were just tired and wore themselves down. I've seen it happen 2 or 3 times. And so that wake-up call, I like that.
Good. That's
I
good.
like that. So thank you so much. So Sherrell,
Yes, ma'am.
when is the anthology due to be released?
The anthology, this wonderful anthology, is going to be released for the month of November. As we
Okay.
know, some of you may know, November is National Caregivers Month.
Yes.
This is what better time to launch a book than the whole month of November. And so we're looking at maybe the 10th or 11th. It's going to be launched in November. And so we're going to sell it. We're going to launch it. We're going to have our campaign for the #1 international bestseller. And then we're going to celebrate on that Friday, the 11th. These are tentative dates.
Okay.
Thursday, November the 9th, the 10th, and Friday, November 11th. So these are our tentative dates. Either way it go, the book is coming out and we're going to celebrate it. It's just something about the word first. I mean, everything else can fall behind it. I'm just so excited because this is the first one. And so
Yes.
I'm so glad my contributing co-authors, I'm really calling you ladies authors because some of you have written books and you are actually an author because anytime I may be the visionary, but you are collaboratively coming in and putting in your chapter. So I honor you as an author. And that's why I'm there with everything. We can't get so caught up in stickler about words, titles and words and all this
Yes.
other stuff. I'm just so over that. You got to have all these alphabets behind your name. I'm just like, come on. You know what? Can we just be real? Can we just talk about the real deal of life? And dealing with people. Let's take away all the accolades. Let's
Yes.
take away all the alphabets. Listen, just call me Sherrell. Just call me a servant of God. Just call me a lover of caregivers. Just call me the queen of empowering caregivers. You see what I'm saying? You don't put no title on me. Don't put no stickler on me because God haven't given us any titles, right?
Exactly.
I'm going off on a whole nother level now because it's just, let's just be servants of God. Let's do what God has told us to do. And I know I have discovered, right, what my passion is here on earth and what God has called for me to do. And someone told me, an older lady told me years ago, maybe over 10, 15 years ago, whatever you do every day, that is your ministry.
Wow.
That is your calling. That is what you should be doing in life. And so I literally had to sit down, because every day, what am I doing? Or every other day, I'm taking care of patients. I'm taking care of family members. Someone calling me on the phone about something, right? Some kind of illness, or I was diagnosed with this, or blah, blah, blah. And so every day, we're taking care of someone.
Yes.
We're doing something. This is our calling. This is it. You know what I'm saying? I know this, what I have discovered, what I need to be doing here on earth. This is going to be my legacy. This is it. For the love of caregiving, things that have to do with caregiving. I know mine is professional and family caregivers to come share their story on a virtual platform. And I'm going to get to the other part later when Constance asks me later. What's more coming out of this? You already know this. Miss Sherrell is not stopping. God ain't gonna he's not gonna let me just stop right here, baby. He gonna keep this thing going, because I am being orchestrated by the Holy Spirit. This is not something I'm doing. This is the orchestration of the Holy Spirit. I cannot be on every one platform. I cannot do what everyone else is doing. I know what God has called for me to do, and I am in my lane of brilliance and my circle of competence, or my circle of, what should I call it? My circle, my circle of competence. In other words, what I'm saying is the circle of people I'm in are caregivers, professional, personal, family, or whatever. That is my circle. That's where I'm at. Sure, I can do empowering women conference. I can do women conference. I can do this, do that. But what is your specialty? What is your expertise? What are you laser focused on? What can I talk about 24/7? Caregiving. That's my story.
You're sticking to it.
I'm telling you, you got to know.
Yes.
You got to know where you know. Listen, when we driving on the street and on the highway, listen, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Don't come over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stay in your lane, baby. So that's where I'm at. I'm in my lane of brilliance, and that is caregiving.
So, Sherrell, am I hearing that there's going to be some caregiver conferences coming up, or master classes, or things of that nature? Additional speaker summits?
Absolutely. You got you turn your hearing aid up. Y'all turn your hearing aid. I'm messing with y'all in the audience. Listen, turn it up, turn it up. Yes, there's so much more coming out of this. There's so much more coming out. I'm already planning for 2023, right? There's going to be caregiver conferences. There's going to be masterclass. There's going to be who knows what else, other anthologies. I'm just taking it one day at a time, and I'm laser focused on this first inaugural anthology right now. Like I say, when it's the first one, you put everything into it. You're excited about it. You're anxious about it. It's just so many adjectives for your emotions that go into your anything first. Your first baby. Wasn't you excited about your first child? Once you're all excited, and then once all of that was over, you're like, oh, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Then you moved on to something else, right? You done went through all this push, not a baby here. Now, wow, I can breathe for a minute. Then something else happened. Now you got to feed the baby. Now you got to do this. Now you have to do that. So absolutely, to the listening audience, let me share with you right here. If you are a professional or a family caregiver, you need to connect with me. My name is Sherrell D. Mims. Connect with me. I'm on Facebook. We're on the Global Caregivers Network and the Global Caregiver Speakers. These ladies, you're going to see these ladies on the speaker platform, be it virtual or in person. We're moving forth with this. It is not stopping. It's not stopping. I am moving full speed ahead, and I want all of you to be on that train with me. I don't want to leave anyone behind. Caregiving is what we do. It's what we do. It's our nature. And just so you know, ladies, you're going to be a caregiver infinitely, forever. Why? Because you are a mother. It's your DNA. It's what you do. We're nurturers. We take care of the home. We take care of the children. It's our DNA. Just like now, my daughter went off to college. She need me even more now. Why? Because now she got bills to pay, right? She got living in an apartment. She's not working full time to pay her apartment and all her bills. So guess what? We still have to take care of our children. We are still caregivers. Does anyone agree with that? Where y'all at on that?
I definitely agree. The older
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't think
And not
because
only
18 it's over. No, that's when it first begins, really.
It is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It
They need
absolutely
your advice. They need your guidance. They need this. They need that.
Mm-hmm.
So it never ends. Caregiving never ends.
it never
does not.
ends.
It never ends. It never
And
ends.
I want to say again, caregivers need to know how to take care of themselves because we live in a climate now where caregiving is going to be that's the next big thing that's going to be
Yes.
that is already happening in the United States specifically. If you
It
notice,
is.
all the baby boomers, they really carried the economy of this nation from time to time. Those baby boomers,
Mhm.
those poor babies, from Buster Brown shoes right through the housing shortage, right, and
Mhm.
right now they're the caregivers. They're either going to be a caregiver or they're going to need care. So it's
That's right.
important that we learn about
That's right.
caregiving and that
That's
not
right.
only that we respect caregivers because we all are going to be in that situation if we have not been already.
And it's
Absolutely.
interesting you mentioned the baby boomers because
Mhm.
I can remember there was a time in our community you didn't
Mm,
send your loved one to a nursing home.
Wow.
absolutely.
You took care of them at home.
That's right. That's right.
There was no nursing home, and everybody in the family pitched in
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
to take care of that person. And I mean, this was 24/7.
That's right.
I remember stories my mom telling me when their grandmother came to live with them, and she was crippled. And they on the weekends, all the other kids were going out doing stuff. They were at home because they had to take care of their grandmother
Hmm.
while my grandmother was doing what she needed to do. So, and it wasn't heard of sending our loved ones to a nursing home. So then that dynamic changed. But
Yes.
what I learned is even though you send them to the nursing home, you better be present to make sure they're getting the care that
That's
they
right.
need.
True.
That's right.
You
Right.
better be present, I mean, ever present to make sure that they are getting the
Mhm.
care that they need. So you're right, caregiving is not going away. It's
It
not.
is not going away.
No.
Not at all. Let me put a plug right here, ladies, with the nursing home thing. Now we all know about when the pandemic came in, how they were not even able to what touch. They couldn't touch or anything, and to not be touched for 2 years.
Oh,
And I
wow.
mean, they probably was being touched by the staff, but I'm
The
talking about for
families.
your loved ones to come
Yeah.
to visit and hug you and kiss you, to not be able to do that for a good year and a half to 2 years, that
Mhm.
does something to your psyche, man. That does something to you. I mean, that's just a humanistic nature to want to be touched, right? And to
Mhm.
not have that for 2 years, can you just imagine how they feeling? You know, not being hugged by their family members, their grandkids, their children. I'm just putting that in there because we know too that touch is the last thing that tends to go away. It's the hearing, then it's the touch. Those like be the last two things that goes away in healthcare for the patient. As we're aging, because as they get older, they become more isolated. They become more, maybe withdrawn or what have you. But in these nursing home, I just couldn't imagine not being touched for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
a good year, a good year, a good year, 18 months, just not being touched. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
It does something to the psyche. Keisha, what you think about it? What you think about it, Keisha? But that is just
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. We come into the world touched right away,
Exactly.
and so to know to have the touch of a loved one, the embrace of a loved one, to be held by a loved one, that. I mean, it's very big.
Mm-hmm.
yes, because I'd be all in. I need my hug today.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, because even the patients in the psychiatric unit, it's just something about, they didn't want us to touch the patients too much. We had to bump the fist or whatever. But this one young lady, she just kept coming up, Miss Sherrell, where my hug at, Miss Sherrell, where my hug at today? So I just went ahead and hugged her. You know what I'm saying? Because she was yearning for that, right? So you can't be so standoffish that you just gonna be like, just let the poor little thing just be, oh, I just need me a hug. All she wanted was a hug. Now, what
Wow.
if I had just walked past her and just kept, girl, I ain't giving you no hug. What you talking about? We can't be hugging. That would have did something to her up here. She was already on the psych unit. And so we really have to be conscious of things. I know that was something that was ordained by the state and all that, but it just does something to your psyche, man. That was like PTSD for a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
And I don't know if they looked at it like that or what, but that was traumatic for a lot of patients not to be held and touched by their family.
Mm-hmm.
Staff is there, but that's not your family.
And the families couldn't come and visit, they had to look at them from the window outside. They would
Sure.
come up to the windows at some of the nursing homes. They would come to the windows and just kind of, put their hands on the glass, and that was their touch, through glass, and some glass in between them.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I've seen that too, but I'm like, that's still not touching me. That's still
No,
we still got a
no,
barrier.
that's right.
That's the closest they can get to it. But I'm just like, it's just something about, I'm just so passionate about caregiving that I feel, even if they had to put on gloves and come to the door or whatever, that did something to me, to know that they were not able to be touched and held for that long of a period of time. So
Exactly.
yeah, but that's just my little pet peeve there. And just if you anything else that's going on with the anthology constants, we're just moving along with it. Like I said, within the next, definitely in November, it's going to be launched. And how your wonderful audience can get in contact with me, Sherrell D. Mims, you can contact me at the Global Caregiver Speakers. That is on Facebook. And we have a Global Caregivers Network. Now, the network, that's a platform, it's a private page on Facebook. And that's just for networking. If you want to talk, put a quote out there, whatever you want to do related to caregiving, you can do that. And then the Global Caregiver Speakers, as you all know, or those in the audience, you will know, connect with me. We're definitely going to have a summit, a conference, if you will. And we're going to take it live next year. If we're able to go live, we're looking at different things in the community to go live, and y'all gonna see me out in the community next year, even more so, because this is what we have to do. We have to get out in the community and let them know that Global Caregivers Network is here, and that is going to be my pet peeve to start off, kick off the new year, to go into, just like you just said, in the nursing home. Because you know what? There are a lot of certified nurse assistants, and I give them kudos because they are the brink of nursing. They the ones doing all the activities of daily living, what we call ADLs, right? They're doing the bathing, the cleaning, in some cases feeding them, setting them up, transferring them from bed to chair, or chair to bed, or whatever.
Mhm.
They are the brink of nursing. I'm telling you right now, if it was not for the CNAs, I'm telling you, I don't know where I would be at, behind a desk somewhere, because they do everything, and don't get some really good ones, right? I mean, they just really have a love for taking care of patients. You get a couple of them, man. I usually just stick with them. So that's my next assignment. I got things that God have me doing for my next assignment, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be even more so out in the community. 2022, we're just now coming back into getting back into the community since the pandemic.
So now you know that the Speakeasy podcast will be featuring the Global Caregivers Network for the entire month of November.
Yes.
Yes. So you guys will be guest panelists here for the entire month here at the Speakeasy during National Caregivers Month. And we will be focusing on the heart of a caregiver and the love of caregiving. So Keisha, what's up next for you?
I'm working on a couple other projects. I do a lot with, I write a couple articles for caregiving. I'm working with a radio show, doing a couple things for veterans in the caregiver space. So I'm working on that. I'm working with someone producing some music for caregivers. So I got a few things that's on the list.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Amen.
And so if anyone want to reach out to you, how would they find you?
The easiest way, if you want to send an email to info@encouragingcaregivers.com.
Okay, that's info@encouragingcaregivers.com.
Correct.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a panelist this evening.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yes, and being a part of this collaboration. Matis,
I don't know. For some reason, I can't, my face is now no longer showing, but I'm here.
But you can talk. So what's
Yes.
next for Matis?
Well, right now I'm working on a workbook for caregivers for them to monitor and to be able to stay checked with their wellness and self-care. And so that's one of the things that I'm doing right now. And that project should be finished, I'm hoping. My plan is to have it finished by the end of October. So it'll be ready for Caregivers Month.
Okay. Right. And so if someone wants to get a copy of it, how could they purchase it?
They could purchase it. My email is guiltfreeselfcare@gmail.com.
All right. I like that. Guilt-free self-care at gmail.com. Okay.
That's right.
How fitting. Yes. Okay. So, ladies, I want to thank each of you for coming and sharing this evening here at the Speakeasy Podcast at Author's Corner. And for our listening audience, thank you so much for tuning in. And may God bless you today, tomorrow, and forever. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.